Hi, everyone. I guess I'll just get started. Uh, when I think of things like hard work, perseverance, and most significantly gratitude, I think of my parents. I often think of my father's hands, gnarled, cracked, cut, shaped by years of work and struggle that he could so much so that he can no longer even fit into the wedding ring that was shaped for him from before I was even born. I often think of my mother's hair, pulled back tightly in a ponytail, tucked under a hat to be kept out of her face, yet still perfectly shiny and straight. Also often pushed back by her hands, tired and worked. Well, except for that one portion of my childhood where she had a perm, but that was like a different time, and I don't often like to talk about that. It's been a while. I'm sure many of you, like me, feel like you've been moving at 100 miles an hour since we were told that our spring break of 2020 would be extended indefinitely. Honestly, I'm surprised a lot of you clicked on this video because, again, if you're anything like me, law school already feels like a fever dream. Happy memories of the before times where we could do extravagant things like eat pizza from a box that was just kind of randomly sitting on a table for an indiscriminate amount of time outside of classroom 114. Was the pizza up for grabs? Was it there waiting for a meeting in the room to end? How many slices could I take? Were normally the questions I thought of, but never once hesitated to use my grubby paws to sneak away a slice. For those of you that are here, hi. Long time no see. Sorry I haven't been great about keeping up with text and Zoom calls and just generally in touch. I've kind of tucked away myself and had to study for the bar, unfortunately. But it's great to see you, honestly. If you don't ultimately remember me or even wonder why the heck I'm here, I think once upon a time I was so fortunate and truly, to my surprise, chosen to be your commencement speaker, which has now turned into a fun video for you to watch while you scroll through your email with a reality TV show on in the background. It's okay, I'm doing it too. To remind you of what I can only assume is the first glimpse you've gotten of me since those before times, I'm Chris. I'm from Orlando. I worked at a bunch of desks in the library, I wear glasses, and I love those free pizzas in the hallway. When I got this gig to be the speaker, I wasn't entirely sure what I could say, what I could do, or what message I could impart upon my class that would be significant. It feels kind of big getting to talk to a bunch of people, so I felt like whatever I had to say needed to be profound. Do I talk about political strife or racial injustice and the struggles of the law school, perseverance, the importance of the profession, blah, 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 blah? What could some nobody kid say to an arena of people, now technically dozens of people who have clicked on this video? What could he say that would have actually some kind of impact? So instead, I decided to say something that was closer to home, quite literally, my family, and the idea of gratitude. For my mother, my father, and my two brothers. A little background. Both of my parents were born in Cambodia in the 1960s. Between 1975 and 1979, the country was taken over by the Communist Party, and more specifically, the despot known as Pol Pot. To spare some of the specific gruesome details, the small southeastern country, known for its luscious greenery, vibrant fruits, and deep Angkor history, was gripped by a genocide, resulting in the death of nearly 2 million people, almost 25% of the population. Both of my parents have tragic stories in their own right, filled with hunger, struggle, death, but in the end, triumph, or rather, gratitude for those triumphs along the way. I spent my childhood watching these two people, thrown into a new country, not because of choice, but rather because of necessity. I'm not here to speak the virtues of hard work and bootstraps and determination, because my father Kong and my mother Melina exhibited all those traits, but a lot of life came down to sheer luck. My father loves to give me proverb-esque statements that come from garbled translations in English, and while his words are never filled with prose, the meanings always ring true. He'll go, "Chris, sometimes if your luck is with you, it was meant to be, and for us, our luck was meant to be, and for that I'm thankful." While their hard work is true and determined, I will never not stand on a metaphorical soapbox and not wave the flag for their grit. But oftentimes, the fate of their lives was outside of their control. Tossed from a country to a new land filled with language barriers, unintelligible bureaucratic systems, racism, and most horrifyingly, raising two of my younger brothers and me. But one thing that was always in their control was their quiet gratitude. I wouldn't consider my parents optimists. Their lives have been too turbulent to be anything but realist. However, something I've always noticed was how thankful they were of any aid or help or fortune that finally came along their way. I grew up watching my parents run a small grocery shop where people walked to the store because they couldn't afford cars and counted out their grocery budgets in coin piles filled with lint and dirt. I saw them unfortunately lose that business and have to struggle with menial jobs until opportunity raised its head once more for them to restart their lives in a very young state of their mid-50s at a donut shop with no experience in the food industry whatsoever. I've seen them thrive at school functions with little English under their belt and navigate a country that promised them a new life in one hand, but smacked them with the other. But again, in the smallest moments, I've always been reminded of their gratitude. Please do not confuse this with a sniveling kind of sycophantic whimper to those who would deem us worthy of any kind of aid, but rather a gratitude for oneself, our family, our team, and a pride at their own perseverance. Not knowing what challenge would be next, but trusting yourself to be able to face it. My mother is a firecracker, a 5'4" titan. She's braved war, sexism, racism, and raising 3 boys. She speaks loudly and laughs even louder. Her hair is always kept well. My father is a quiet storm, orphaned, gentle, and wise. He speaks sparsely, but deliberately. His hands are always rough and tired. This has been a rough year for all of us. Do I even need to say that? And while we may feel like there's a light at the end of the tunnel that keeps getting postponed, or moved a mile away, or switched to a virtual video, I think we should all be kind to ourselves still, and remember the efforts and the things that we've faced. I wish I could say, hey, with a chipper attitude, we can handle the world's problems. Don't worry, things will turn around. It's not true. However, again, like I learned from my parents, finding gratitude in yourself and the ones you love can bring a special kind of power. Look down and admire your own hands, or fix up your hair. Be proud of your perseverance. While 2020 and our graduation may not have turned out as we would have liked, be grateful for yourself. I'm grateful for my mother, Melina, my father, Kong, for my brothers, Richard and Derek, to my loved one, Lauren. I'm grateful to the professors, faculty, librarians, and staff at the law school. I'm grateful to my friends and my fellow law students. And I'm grateful that you have chosen me to speak on behalf of my class, our class, even if you've forgotten that you did. I am truly grateful. Thank you.
Dear class of 2020, first, hi, we miss you. Second, I've been asked to keep this fairly short, 5 to 7 minutes. You know it's not my forte. I'll do the very best I can. Third, thank you for choosing me. I don't want to forget to say thank you to you, so I'm going to say it right now. It's really an honor to be here to talk to you. It's always an honor to be chosen as faculty speaker, but I think it's a special honor this year. And that brings me to what I want to say. So this is actually hard. What do I say to the class that has lost so much that it doesn't even get a live graduation? Even that was taken away. You know, I refuse to do the like, oh, you're so resilient thing. I'm guessing you're pretty tired of that. So in my precious moments, I just want to tell you what I would say to a dear friend who's younger than me, maybe half as old as me, who I loved like a sister or a brother. So what would I say at this momentous time? And I do want to note, this is such a momentous time. this is your last graduation. This is the end of the line for almost all of you for education. So, I'm like, I want to say at least one thing that will be memorable and special to you. So here goes. First, you matter to us. You mattered to us, and you will continue to matter to us. You chose me to speak on behalf of the faculty, and the faculty has been very clear in instructing me to make sure that you know that we have sorrow for not seeing you, and we have joy in your accomplishments. You didn't have a live graduation ceremony, so we couldn't meet your parents and your siblings, but we want you to know that we care about you deeply, and we will continue to do so. Please stay in touch with us. Let us know what is happening in your world, and know that we are proud of you, and we ache to see you graduate live just as you ached to do it. Second, a few pieces of advice. I think that's obligatory for these sorts of things. And it's kind of weird because, as many of you know, I had like a thing in 2019, my own little hardship, and you chose me as your graduation speaker before you went through your hardship. But we kind of have a little hardship thing in common. So a few things I want to say. First, say yes. Even when nobody asks, say yes. What I've learned, what other faculty members I've talked to have learned, is that, this is just a really weird world. It's full of these little twists and turns, and you might have it all laid out. You might think you know exactly what your plan is, and that's pretty much the one thing that's not going to happen. It's all surprises. But you're going to somehow find the place that you're supposed to be. It's like this little homing pigeon in your soul. If you just say yes. And that's been true time and time again for me. But I'll just tell you, those of you who don't know, I joined the Army when I was 18. I did it just to get out of Montana. I hadn't been east of North Dakota, y'all. There's a big world out there. But that set in motion this series of events that brought me to where I am now, and saying yes to a number of things along the way. So please trust me on this. Every old person I know says that this is true. And it's true because you'll pick up these things along the way, things that you like, things that you don't like, and you're going to meet people along the way. And opportunities will come because you met those people, because you volunteered to do pro bono, because you sat on some committee, because you agreed to get involved in your local YWCA, whatever it is. My father-in-law once told me that opportunity is all about relationships, and it is true. So, there's that. I remember hearing Steve Jobs say, you've got to find what you love, that you're going to spend a lot of your time working, which is true, especially lawyers. And so you have to find what you love. And that's what's true for love is true for your work. Keep looking, keep moving on, keep gathering experience, never settle. And as with all matters of the heart, you will know it when you find it. Well, there's more to say on that, but there's no time. So I'm moving for point number 2. Number 2, fight for justice. This world, it's a really broken world. And the law, as you know, has played just as important a part in perpetuating injustice as it has in rectifying it. The law can do both. It's up to the people as to what the law will do. And you're the lawyers now. I remember right after I graduated, I had a friend, she got in a car accident, and she called me looking for advice. And I said to her instinctively, you should talk to a lawyer about that. And she said, you're the lawyer. And I was like, no, I mean a real lawyer. And I got off the phone and I thought, oh crap, I am the lawyer. Like, I'm a real lawyer now. That's you. You're the real lawyers now. And so what I want to say to you is this. If there was a game like Monopoly or something, and one player was the keeper of the rules, one player got to interpret the rules and argue the rules, change the rules, write the rules, you would say, hands down, that's the most important player of the game. Well, that's you. You're the keeper of society's rules, and you have enormous power With that, enormous responsibility. But you have more power than you know at this moment in time. So I want to encourage you to use your power to make the world a better place, to spend some of your time and talents remedying the injustice that you see, righting those wrongs. It will make you feel great, and society needs you badly. Also, see Supra, point number 1. You will meet good people along the way, and that will open doors for you to do more of the things that you love. Okay, third and finally, point number 3. And by the way, I started with 5 points. I'm now down to 3. We'll see how that goes. Number 3, have hope. Listen, life is going to suck sometimes. Maybe it already does, but it's glorious too. And one of the things I've learned is that half of winning is just staying in the game. The hardest part is so often just conquering your own self-doubt that you're not supposed to be here or you can't do this. It's just not true. Now, look, it's not to say you're not going to fail sometimes. You're not going to have disappointments and hardships. I remember losing cases as a young prosecutor, and there was one in particular that I felt terrible about. And I must have been wearing it on my sleeve because the judge took me aside. I think it was the judge that dismissed my case, by the way. And he said to me, listen, the question is not whether you're going to get knocked down. You will get knocked down. The question is whether you get back up. And I've never forgotten that. And I've come to think, getting knocked down, it actually brings clarity and determination and harder, better work. So keep pushing. Just keep walking. I've failed at as much as I've succeeded. It's fine. I promise you'll survive. You know that saying, when you're going through hell, just keep walking? That. All right, so I think my 5 minutes is up, but I'm going to do this anyway. I'm going to give you my 4th and 5th points. Number 4, very briefly, give grace. Whoever it is that you might have a negative experience with, remember, that's just the teeniest 1/1000th of a slice of them. You have no idea what they've been going through. So I would just say, when given the chance, err in the direction of kindness. And also give yourself grace. You've worked really hard to be where you are. If you're tired, give yourself a break. If you mess up, give yourself grace. And then 5th and finally, remember the beauty of it all. When I was home the fall of 2019, I would just sit and look out my window, this background, and I would watch the leaves turn colors, and I could see them. It was like yellow and red and orange and purple, like purple leaves. And granted, I was on drugs at the time, but I was like, this is glorious. And it didn't have to be that way. Those leaves could just turn brown and die like my houseplants do. They don't have to give us this glorious show. And so it's just, it didn't have to be like that, but it was, and it is. And why did I never think about how gratuitous this show of beauty is before? Why did I take it for granted? And so I just say, don't take stuff for granted. Like, live as best as you can, and preferably not on drugs. But, live to see the beauty of it all. Take walks, spend time with friends, get vaccinated, little public service announcement there, and then go back to giving hugs. Tell your family thank you. Thank you for supporting you. Thank you for doing your laundry. Thank you for cooking you meals, for sending you snacks, for encouraging you along the way. Tell your family that you love them. Use words if necessary, because they love you and they were given to you just as you were given to them. I think the world is just a better place when we're all connected, and you couldn't go on your journey alone, and you wouldn't even want to, even if you could. So that's it. And I think it brings me full circle to where I started, which I think is probably a fitting place to end, which is, please stay connected with us. Stay in touch. We care about you. We're proud of you. And I promise you, we will be on the sidelines, clapping, applauding, cheering you on as you go out and conquer the world. So good luck, class of 2020. Our very best wishes to you.